Mr. Speaker.
David Clendon.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Kei te mihi nui kia koutou. Ki na manahiri ki tēnei whare o te rā, tēnā koutou katoa. Ki te mana o ngā iwi o te hika o te ika, nā kaitiaki o muri whenua, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Sir, I'm pleased to take a call on behalf of the Greens to lend our support to this important bill, to this very substantial bill, running to some 700 or so pages, its sheer bulk and heft reflecting the importance of the agreements, of the undertakings that are contained within it. Sir, on Sunday afternoon I was fortunate to be at part of quite a large celebration of the birthday of something of a local identity in the Kaitaia area, who lives on a hilltop just a couple of kilometres out of Ahipara. And so from this home we were looking north and somewhat to the west, along Te Onero Atohi, seeing in the distance the landscapes, the headland at Hauhora, and of course further north to Rerenga Wairua. And so clearly I have connections to the north, and long may they continue. But I think no one could stand and look at that landscape and not be moved by the power of that landscape, by the beauty of that landscape, and by the significance of that landscape. It would be an unfortunate human being indeed who could look at that view and not think that it was something very special, something unique, and something very precious. And so clearly most precious of all to the people in whose care it has been for a very long time, and whose care it will continue to be in. This bill does advance the possibility and the opportunity for the mana of that land, for the kaitiakitanga of that land, for the ongoing care and sustenance of that land to be returned to the home, to the hands of those who hold it most dearly. Sir, we've heard already a number of times reference to the very well-known whakatauki, referencing the fact that the head is the fish here in Wellington, the tail in the far north. And one, of course, can wonder at the collective wisdom that's contained in the head, specifically in this institution, over many decades, given that it has taken so long for a settlement to be advanced, which will be found at least satisfactory to the people of the far north. The first appeals based on the treaty relationship date back to the late 19th century, within a few decades of the signing of the treaty, over 100 years of toil, of effort to bring the situation to a level of fruition, to advance another step in this House today. And as others have done, we must acknowledge the ongoing commitment, the work, the absolute belief of those people past and the present who have worked so hard to bring this bill to the House, to bring the settlement, the agreement to the stage it has reached. And of course we all look forward to having this resolved swiftly in order that the redress can be made real, that the financial, cultural redress will be satisfied. So the point is that the tail of the fish must be moving in order for the whole creature to move forward. For a very long time, there has not been a great deal of energy in the far north. It has been a depressed region, some would say a repressed region, and these settlements are part of restoring the energy to that place, because without it, this country will not prosper, and there is a long history of that. The energy in this case will be represented in part by the financial redress, which in total is to the effect of some $100 million. A small amount in terms of what was taken, what was lost, but at least a basis to allow the innovative, the hard-working, the creative people of the far north to build their own future, to create their own future for them and for the following generations, which after all is what these bills are about. So reading through the bill, and it is substantial, but even reading the summary of the apologies, as ever, I appeal to people who may have no particular interest in this specific settlement, but who are New Zealanders, be they Māori, Pākehā, Tauiwi, whatever it may be. It is important that people read and understand why these settlements are necessary and important, and much of that is contained in the apology. I expect very few people will read the whole 700 pages, but simply to engage with some of the history and the Crown's apology does reflect the significance of these moments, of these settlements. The Crown's mana was seriously diminished in its failure to honour Te Tiriti o Waitangi. People believe often, yes, Māori were alienated from their land, lost our language, our tikanga was disrespected, but at no point was the loss of mana to Māori to the extent that it was to the Crown. The failure to respect and honour the articles of Te Tiriti did diminish the honour of the Crown, and indeed it is to restore that mana as much as anything that these settlements are necessary and important. Sir, the Minister mentioned the importance of leadership, and I must acknowledge, as others have, Minister Finlayson, who has displayed significant leadership in this and other settlements. I think I'm right in this, that he has overseen more settlements than any other minister, and that's to his credit. And I must also acknowledge the obvious sincerity that he brings to his concern to see these settlements advanced. But leaders, of course, are nothing without followers, and it is the challenge of leadership in the north as elsewhere to maintain the integrity of the community of whānau, hapu and iwi as the steps towards a better future are made. And we do have that leadership in the north, there's no question of that, both in our matua and in some of our younger leaders coming through. And it's in their hands that the future will lie. But it is important that these bills are acknowledged and accepted, that the communities feel part of the settlement, or else they will not succeed as much as they might. And that is the ongoing work both of the leadership within the iwi and hapu, and each of those of us, particularly who are MPs from the north, I think have a responsibility to participate in some of that as well. And certainly as a Green MP in the north, I'm entirely committed to seeing the success of these settlements. So it's only through individuals and collectives, the government, the local government, communities generally, iwi, hapu, it's only through a combined acceptance that these are good settlements, that they are necessary settlements, that they will succeed to the extent that is possible. We need long-term sustainable outcomes. Māoridom does not think in terms of years, but in terms of generations. And in these settlements, we need to be thinking in similar terms. The horizon is not 3 years or 6 or a decade. It is multiple generations into the future, and that should guide our decision-making, our actions at this point and from this point forward to ensure that we acknowledge the past, heal the hurt that was done, and give Māoridom a base to determine its own future. That is the essence of rangatiratanga, self-determination. That cannot be done in a vacuum. As the lands are returned, as the financial redress is made, as the cultural redress is determined, then we can look forward to a future that we can collectively be proud of. Kia ora, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Peter Perrone.
Tēnā koe, tēnā no tātou te whare.